Hello everyone, today's video we're going to take a look at what we call substantial shareholding relief, which is a very powerful tax planning relief in the capital gains tax and corporation tax world. And specifically I'm going to go through a few real life scenarios and how it can be affected, how it works, and then also talk about a recent court case where the taxpayer claimed it and it didn't work. So what did they do wrong? Are the rules not fit for purpose? We shall take a look. So, SSE, as it's known as in the tax jargon world, not to be confused with, I think there's an energy company, isn't there, SSE, but it's totally different. So, substantial shareholding exemption. So, let's do a little schematic. Now, assume we've got a parent company, and this parent company has a subsidiary. This company down here, top co, bottom co, and the parent company decides it wants to sell off this subsidiary. So money comes into the top co, it divests its subsidiary, and the money that comes in here is absolutely tax free. Okay, that's the gist of the rules. Certain conditions, as you would expect when something is completely tax-free, and I'll come on to explain some of those, but that's the thrust of the rules. It was brought in about 20 years ago specifically to encourage a lot of the FTSE 100s to get rid of unwanted subsidiaries, to rationalise their portfolio and say, look, you know, understand you might have acquired some of these acquisitions over the years. They're no longer a strategic fit for your conglomerate. You could divest them, no tax. That was basically why the government brought in this rule. And it's been in for about 20 years. But that's what it would be. So money comes into top co, no capital gains tax on disposing subsidiary. And the money stays in here. So where else might it come in? Another example, what if you've got an existing trading business? So let's say, because this doesn't just apply to FTSE 100, by the way, it can apply to any size business. So let's say you're a husband and wife, run a SME, small business, manufacturing widgets, and you are this existing trading company here. And you're thinking about selling. So you think, well, okay, yes, we could get our hands on a bit of cash at a low rate of capital gains tax using entrepreneurs relief or business asset disposal relief, but you can actually do better than that and get it at 0% if you did what we call a share for share transaction, created a new top co above the existing co, and then when it comes to selling this business, you receive money in your top co and it's all tax free. You might say, well, how do we get it out? Well, then you can get it out via dividends and various things. But basically, if you've got a ton of cash and you're looking where to invest it, one of the things you can do, assuming you've maxed out your pension and your ISA, is to have it in a corporate wrapper anyway. So that's just another example of SSE. The power of SSE is if you're looking to sell your own business, you create this group with a holding company, sell off the trading business, money comes in your new holding company or family investment company, tax-free. Now, what recently went through the courts was this particular scenario. So, we had a company, and essentially it had two separate divisions in one limited company. So, Division 1 and Division 2. Completely different things that this company was up to. Division A, Division B, I don't know what they were doing, but they were completely separate, but nevertheless in one limited company. So what they did, they had plans to sell off one of the divisions. Now, if they'd have sold it off just in that company there, sold off a division, there would have been corporation tax on any capital gain in that company. So they said, aha, well, we know about this substantial shareholding exemption, the SSE, so let's create a subsidiary company down here and we'll hive off the trade that we want to sell from existing company down to new subsidiary. And then we will sell it off, we'll take the money in here absolutely tax-free, thank you very much. So this is what they did. And they put all this on the tax return, this company. And this was for quite a big chunk of change. Specifically, it was about 50 million was the gain, was the gain that they had up here. And they claimed, SSE, saying, well, there is no gain because we've basically had this subsidiary down here for a period of time, and we sold that, money came to Topco, no tax, thank you very much. HMRC said, no, you haven't done it right, and we're going to hit you for £10 million of tax. And this went to the tribunals, and it's gone through a few rounds of the tribunals, and actually where it stands now is that HMRC are winning the arguments, and the taxpayer is faced with this £10 million tax bill. Why? Well, because like I said right at the start, whenever there's something like tax-free, there's always hoops, and they didn't tick all the boxes to claim this. So what do I mean? Well, let's have a look. When this company set up this subsidiary to hive down the trade to before spinning it off and selling it, the rules say to get SSE, you have to have this group arrangement, i.e. more than one company, in existence for 12 months. So any of this stuff we're talking about, whether you got top and bottom, or you start with bottom and then go to top, it's got to be in existence for 12 months. That's the broad rule. So these guys set up the company, hived down the division they wanted to sell. 11 months later, they sold it to a third party. Money came up here. Excuse me. Had they waited just one more month, it would have saved them £10 million. Now, they argued and said, look, there was also quite a few arguments before, but they said, well, really, is it, is that fair? It can not just say that, it discriminates, the rules discriminate against companies that are set up like this, where you've got two divisions in one company. Because to all intents and purposes, it is a group, it's just a group of two divisions in one company. That was kind of the argument. And the tax tribunal said, well, no, it doesn't work like that. In the tax law, it talks about groups of companies, and groups of companies being more than one limited company, not two divisions in the same limited company. Had they waited another month, they'd have got their tax-free, but because they hadn't, it cost them £10 million. Now, the taxpayer was kind of arguing and said, look, well, what if they had done this? Because this would have also worked. Had they had Division 1, Division 2, and years ago, they just set up a dormant company here, doing nothing, say. And then they set up the new company to hive the division down, the one that they wanted to sell off. That would have also worked, because there had been a group in existence for longer than 12 months. Even though this one here, dormant, was doing absolutely nothing, the rule said it has to be a group of more than one companies on the go for more than 12 months. So that would have worked. I mean, that seems, a bit harsh. Even if they'd had that dormant company for a while, and like I said, they could have hived that down to there and sold it pretty much straight away and got their exemption. But no, they did this, and they said, look, 11 months, but this division has been in existence for more than 12 months. It's still a group, it's just a group of one company. But that argument, unfortunately, didn't wash. So, will it go to appeal further up the food chain? Maybe. But the takeaway is, for goodness sake, if you are relying on anything in the tax world, that where it's zero rate of tax or lower rate of tax, the government don't just make it easy for you to get that. There's all sorts of hoops you've got to jump through. And in this case, it's all about timing, setting up the structure right. And literally, they were a month short of getting away with paying £10 million in its simplistic analysis. So, for goodness sake, be careful if you are in a similar boat. Might not be for selling for 50 million gain, but like I said, if you're looking at selling businesses and doing one of these things here, where you've got a subsidiary that you want to offload, or you're thinking about creating a topco and receiving money up there, you've got to make sure that the timings are right and the structure is right. So just an overview there, folks, on the nuances of what they call the substantial shareholding exemption, basically tax-free disposals of subsidiaries. When it works really well. When it doesn't, it can really go pear-shaped. So if you like this video, please do subscribe, and as always, I'll see you soon.